What up, fam? It's your boy Pop Pop. It's like 2:30 in the morning, and my alarm went off to take my medicine. So that's been problematic because my blood pressure's been really low. And when your blood pressure's low, you can't take high blood pressure medicine because it causes what's called paradoxical hypertension. So what happens is that I have to wait. I have to wait each hour and take my blood pressure over and over again to see when it's going to finally come up into the zone where I can take the medicine safely. Because when you take the medicine at the wrong time, it really gives you a fit. So I'm just having peanut butter and jelly at the moment, and sorry to reach in front of the camera. Yesterday was horrible. Uh, my used to be best friend called me from the front desk and asked where my rent was. And so I said, I'm paid up until next month. And he slammed the phone down. So I got in touch with the general manager. I was like, what's going on? What's going on? Your man sound confused. And he did. He sounded like he was having a driving Miss Daisy moment when she lost her mind and she thought she was a school teacher again, that kind of stuff. So here I am minding my own business, and the man hits me up and he's like, what did you talk to the big boss for? And I'm like, because you called my room and said my rent wasn't paid, and then you stuck the phone in my ear. What am I supposed to think? You know? And so I've been I've been wheelchair bound and bedridden for 4 years after the old maintenance guy here punched me in the spine. You know, and so man Raj was helping me by going to the store and doing little errands. I always bless my food. Come here, gaze as signs of guest. Und signe vestans besheret has. Amen. Here, you can have the first bite. It's just not the same without coffee. My coffee was very important to me. So here I am minding my own business yesterday. And all of this Who Struck John comes thundering down the pike. And main man accusing me of being a backstabber and all this other stuff. I'm like, look, if you had handled it like an adult and stayed on the phone and said, oh, I made a mistake, I got the wrong room, instead of sticking the phone in my ear, I wouldn't have thought that you were bat crap crazy and called the general manager to see what was going on. So my man all upset at me, like it's my fault. But it's like nothing seems to make sense anymore. You know? Nothing makes sense anymore. Hey, what's up, Yella? How are you? So I had my poor people food yesterday. I had a quarter of a cup of cabbage, boiled cabbage for dinner, and iced tea. And surprisingly, it did not give me gas. And then later on, I had two packages of ramen noodles. So dinner cost me about $1.50. But I'm portion controlling my food. And it's the end of the month, so I'm starting to run out of stuff. So I'm glad I got powdered milk in the cupboard. Well, every time I test my sugar was good yesterday. I tested it and it was 90. 90 is actually low. And my heart was real crabby. And I think it's from the sleep apnea of falling asleep. And it's called sleep spindles. It's where your brain totally detaches and you don't have any sense of anything. And your body runs on automatic pilot. And since it's not getting any message from the brain, like to breathe, the oxygen goes down, carbon dioxide goes up, and you gasp like every minute and a half. You gasp during your sleep. You go like that. I didn't realize I was doing it until I let the camera run and fell asleep with the camera running. And then it recorded me sleeping. And I was like, wow, you're not breathing during your sleep. So when you get older, it's just everything turns into like a matter of trying to survive. I want to show you something too. See these plants? I grew them on store-bought potting soil and filtered water. And as an experiment, I've started giving them tap water without filtering it, and the plants are starting to die. So I've done the experiment twice, and I raised this plant on filtered water, and then I started giving it regular tap water, and you can see it died. So something's not kosher with the tap water that they're not telling us about. But I never drink unfiltered water, and I always boil my water. I check my sugar. I check my EKG to see how my heart's doing. I check my oxygen level, my pulse, everything they check in the hospital, I check. And the EKG monitor only costs $110. So that's really cheap to have that, sense of peace about whether your heart's doing okay or not. I bought one of those everything sport watches off of Amazon, and it was pretty good, except the blood pressure part was inaccurate. And that's the thing that I bought the watch for. So I returned it, and Amazon charged me $8 to return it. Yeah, pulse oximeter is only $15. So why not? I don't know what brand the pulse oximeter is. I tried to stick with Omron, and I tried to stay away from Home Medics. Home Medics is garbage. There's not anything I've ever gotten from Home Medics that hasn't been garbage, whether it's a wheelchair pad or anything from Home Medics is garbage. Omron is top of the line for the wrist blood pressure monitor, and it costs $60, which was pricey compared to the other ones costing $20. But but it's lasted for 2 years and it's accurate. Whenever you take your blood pressure, you want to use two different cuffs made by two different companies. That way you can tell if they're accurate. Now, even if they're both not exactly accurate, what you do is you write down what cuff number one said. It'll say like 160 over 90 at 72 beats per minute. Then cuff number two will say like 148 over 86 at 68. So you take both of those figures and you add them together. Then you divide it by 2, which will give you a more correct average. Yeah, I don't use the patch transmitter for for my sugar because it's never been a problem. So I just go ahead and prick my finger like everybody else. I was using my arm, but there's not enough blood. There's not enough blood going through my arm to get an accurate reading. I'm just going to have iced tea this morning because tea is tea. And I miss having the coffee. I miss having the coffee, and there's no substitute for it. And I'm just going to have iced tea with sweet and low. I can still tolerate that. What's been an issue? Your sugar or your blood pressure or what? Because they're both hand in hand. So, oh, all right. But in any case, if you're taking your pills and you're not logging when you take your stuff, you're just rolling the dice as to whether you're going to wind up in the hospital or not. And the reason being is uh, according to how much you urinate is going to decide how much medicine stays in your body. So if you're having a bad sugar day and you're urinating a lot and your urine goes, I'm not giving medical advice, I'm just telling you my experience. If you're having a bad sugar day and you urinate a lot and your urine goes clear as water, you're in trouble because you're low on electrolytes, you're low on vitamins and minerals in your body. And so when I have a bad day like that, I'll take a vitamin pill and I'll snap it in half, and I'll take half of the vitamin in the morning, half in the evening. Jardians. Yeah, I haven't tried any. I'm old school about everything. I use uh I use apple cider vinegar. I use apple cider vinegar and that kind of stuff to moderate my sugar. And if you want to drink something sweet like lemonade, because I used to go to Denny's or IHOP and they had delicious lemonade, and I would order the lemonade, a large lemonade with my meal, and I would order a bottle of salad dressing oil. And the waitress would bring the oil. She's like, "You're not eating anything that needs salad oil." And so I would take the lemonade, put a couple of drops of olive oil in the lemonade, stir it, and the waitress would look at you like you're crazy. Well, the oil encapsulates the sugar molecule and takes it through your system without hurting you. The reason that people have problems with sugar is because the sugar is very sticky in your system, and it sticks the red blood cells together. And when it comes up to a capillary, the red blood cells act like a clot and they can't get through the capillary. And you get tingling and numbness in your hands and feet. You get short of breath because your red blood cells can't get through the capillaries. So that's why it's important to control your sugar. But I can still drink iced tea with sweet and low in it with no problem. And I don't use enough sweet and low to even make a difference. Hey, look, fam, the wheelchair is starting to hurt. The wheelchair is starting to hurt. If you watch Wheelchair Dad's channel, he actually sits in his wheelchair and cries because it hurts so bad. And that's because when you're paralyzed, the hips are pushing down and cutting off the circulation to the body. So I got to get back in bed and straighten my legs out and get the circulation going. So they call it diabetes 3. Dementia? Well, the thing about dementia, moreover, is dementia is caused by a bacterium that's not a good bacteria that grows too much in your body. You know, unrelated, but like candida, let's say. Even though that's not a bacteria, I'm just using it as an example of something that overgrows. And so it causes inflammation. And the way your body handles it is it clamps over it with calcium. It clamps over it with calcium. So you get calcified fingers, arthritis, you get calcified knees, you get calcified kidneys, so you get kidney stones. And you get calcified blood vessels. You're right, the sugar grows it, but you get calcification in your blood vessels and your brain and everything. And that's what causes the dementia. I don't like green tea. I don't like green tea because it smells like piss weed to me. I'm still trying to get used to drinking black tea instead of coffee. And the chia seeds, I put the chia seeds in I put the chia seeds in a meal replacement shake, but they always turn slimy real quick. So the chia seeds, I'm not big on either. One thing I found out that I am allergic to is poppy seeds. I made some poppy seed muffins and I broke out in a rash all around my neck. And the rash actually was like these little blisters. And so I looked it up, and sure enough, it said it was the poppy seeds. So I threw the poppy seeds out. All right, fam, I got to go. Remember, the good Lord loves you when nobody else does. I love you too. Pop out.